Welcome to the June 6th, 5 p.m. East Bridgewater Board of Health meeting. Tonight's meeting, we are going to start with a hearing for property 1357 Washington Street. I will refer to our health agent to review any outstanding issues that need to be resolved for that complaint.
Okay, this public hearing is in response to a request from Mr. Christopher Titaglione, an occupant of 1357 Washington Street. He's appealing the correction order, State Sanitary Code, Code 2, Minimum Standards of Fitness for Human Habitation, 105 CMR 410, dated May 18th, issued by the health agent. The housing inspection was performed on May 16th, 2022. The board's aware it's a longstanding conflict and it's a civil matter currently being heard in housing court. This board is not the housing court and is not a party to any of the actions that are now residing in that court. We ask that you confine your comments and actions to the May 6th housing inspection and resulting May 18th order letter, and any parties that need to speak will be recognized by the chair. Okay. The housing inspection was performed on May 16th. It was requested by Mr. Edward Johnson, the owner of the property. I issued a housing order both to Mr. Johnson to correct some things and to Mr. Titaglione to correct some things. Most of the violations have been corrected within the 20-day period, which is up June 10th. There is one outstanding order, but they have until the 20th of June to correct that. And that is the yard, which has stockpiles of buckets, metal objects, wooden pallet, and other wooden pieces. We have areas of stagnant water in buckets of water in the buckets, and that harbors mosquito larvae. I've requested that all stockpiles must be removed, all stagnant pools and buckets of standing water are to be removed. And since the ownership of these items may be in question, we've given the tenant 20 days to remove his stuff, and then the owner then has 30 days or 10 days beyond that to remove all the things. Code requires that the owner of any parcel of land, vacant or otherwise, shall be responsible for maintaining such parcel of land in a clean and sanitary condition, free from garbage, rubbish, or other refuge. The owner of the parcel shall correct any condition caused by or on such parcel which affects public health or safety, well-being of occupants of any dwelling of general public. So that is the one outstanding violation left.
Which one would you like to speak first?
It's Mr. Tartaglione's appeal, so.
Okay. You can approach, and you just need to state your name and address. Mr. Taglione.
Chris Tartaglione, 1357 Washington Street.
Hi. So do you have anything to speak of about the debris in the
Yeah,
yard?
I have 6 points that I had made appeal about regarding the order.
You can sit if you'd like.
Sure, thank you. There were some discrepancies in the order that should be clarified. The first one being is that they stated that there's only 3 people living in the house. There's 7 people living in the house. The house is a rooming house by all definition.
I'm just going to interject for 1 second. So that is not something that we're ruling on. All we're ruling on is the outstanding order for the debris in the yard.
I thought we were appealing the issues that were in the.
We're not a zoning board. We're not a real, we have no jurisdiction over.
Well, it would affect a ruling that was also made in regards to the bathroom being cleaned.
Which has already been rectified. So we're just speaking to the
Actually,
outstanding
the
order.
bathroom issue hasn't been rectified. I don't think it's been brought up at all. She's ruled that the bathroom is not a common bathroom. It's on the first floor. I live on the second floor. The bathroom's not in my room. She stated that I'm responsible for cleaning this common bathroom. By Mass state law, it's the landlord that's responsible for cleaning a common bathroom. So I don't see how that was
clarify,
resolved.
the only outstanding item on the agenda for that is the exterior debris, correct?
The yard, yes.
So as far as the bathroom goes,
The first floor bathroom is listed under common areas. In the code, it is both the tenant and the landlord's responsibility to keep common areas clean.
So the
Both of
landlord
you.
hasn't cleaned the bathroom in over 6 months. They refuse to. I shouldn't have to be cleaning up after other tenants that use the bathroom. It's a common bathroom. In the order, it requires me to clean the bathroom.
I don't believe that's correct. We're not distinguishing him to clean the
No.
bathroom, correct?
Both of them are ordered.
Yeah,
to
you're
clean.
both responsible.
Oh, that's not how I read it in the order, but I'll
Do you,
let that.
do you have a rental agreement that designates what you're responsible for in the dwelling?
No, they
Okay.
refused to issue a lease when I showed up to take possession. That was supposed to be a lease, but then they sprung upon me that they didn't want to have a lease.
And you
So-
took residence anyway?
I took residence anyways,
Okay, so
right?
that's kind of out of our hands. We're just here to discuss the debris in the backyard.
Okay, so if we're just going to discuss the debris in the backyard, the inspector made mention of a stockpile of pallets, 5-gallon buckets, and metal objects. So I'd like to know what consists of a stockpile, because I have 4 pallets. Is that a stockpile that I need to get rid of? Was there a quantity that the town has assessed as too many pallets that creates a stockpile?
Well, a stockpile, the board does have pictures of this.
Yeah.
It's in there. A stockpile
There's
is
pictures?
Yes.
two or more.
Oh, I've not received any
And
pictures.
we have ordered the owner to take care of it.
Excuse me?
We have ordered the owner to take care of it.
Well, actually, in the report, it says that items that are, you're not sure whose the items are.
Well,
I'm to
if-
remove the items within 20 days, the owner's to remove the rest within 30.
If
So-
you have items in that stockpile or in that pile, we're giving you 20 days to take them out.
And my
Whatever's
question is,
left-
why do I need to remove pallets from a
What-
property?
Whatever's left is his responsibility to take care of.
Where am I supposed to take them out to? Off the property altogether, or I'm not allowed to use pallets on the property, or?
You're not, if you are taking recycled items, metal, wood, trash, garbage, from another site and bringing it to 1357 Washington Street, you are in effect creating a dump. And that cannot be allowed to happen without a site assignment from the Board of Health.
So is there
which this
pictures of
property does
trash
not
and
have.
debris? Because I don't recall any trash or debris being in the area that I occupy. Also,
Debris-
I would state that I have 6 pigs, 75 chickens, and 3 ducks on the property. It's a working farm.
We're not a zoning board, so we can't attest to that.
understand that,
That would have
but
to take care of that. And that would
as
be
it
within your
relates
rental
to-
agreement, whether a landlord allows you to have those animals there and whether his property is zoned for that.
It is, and he did, and it's before the court presently. Okay, pallets are used in farming. I use them as corrals for the animals. So at what point am I allowed to keep a certain amount of pallets on the property? When a pallet falls over, it breaks, I need to be able to fix it. So what is the quantity that the town is assessing that I can have? Same with 5-gallon buckets. They're essential on a farm. I use it for water, for trash, for pickup. I plant in the buckets, they have holes in them. They're being used as planters, above-ground planters. How many buckets are not allowed, or how many buckets considered a stockpile?
Piled up? I think,
I mean, referring to the pictures, it's
excessive.
very unkempt and it's very excessive. Would you like to see the photos that
I
we
would
have
love
for
to
the
see the photos. I've
inspection?
not seen them. This is a pig pen. I don't know to what extent we're supposed to keep a pig pen clean. That I don't know what this picture is supposed to depict exactly. I mean, it's a pig pen. The pigs roam around. There's a mud puddle right in the middle of it. How am I supposed to keep that more than unkempt? A lot of these items would be considered equipment. There's pallet racks, there's a 55-gallon drum, there's a wheelbarrow, there's a sink that I use for washing my hands in. How would I not be able to keep these items on the property?
Well, I would assume you would be able to keep them on the property if they were kept in a clean and organized fashion and not strewn all across the property.
Well,
Do you have a
this-
shed at present that you can
There
contain
are
all those
9
items are?
sheds on the property, and when I got there, they gave me one dilapidated shelter to put all those animals in. They told me I'd have to build my areas, which I did. So a lot of this area stuff can be put behind the barriers that I've built, the fencing, which I think is really what the code states, is that it has to be out of the
No.
view.
We are not a zoning board.
Yeah, you'd have to go
We don't
before
deal
the
with it.
zoning board to get the regulations for zoning for farming.
She has cited something about trash and debris and the Board of Health making a ruling. That ruling also states that these items can be put outside the view of other residents, other
It does
tenants.
not state that.
Excuse me?
It does not state that.
I have it right here. Is it
The
something
order
that I should
letter
bring
does
forth, or-
not
I'm sorry?
state that. The order letter does not state that.
The order what?
The order letter does not say that.
Right, the order letter does not state that, but the order letter is not quoting the law accurately. As long as all of these items are put out of sight, they should be allowed to be kept on the property according to Mass state law.
That is not the housing code.
How can the housing code be outside of Mass state law?
That is not
The
the
law
housing
states that
code.
I'm allowed to have these items as long as they're out of sight, put behind a barrier. So this is actually the area that the landlord allotted for me to put all of these items, by their instruction. So I've put it where they told me to put it. Now, if I have to put it behind a barrier further, then so be it, but I don't see as that I should have to remove it from the property. I use this equipment. There's a snow blower, there's a leaf blower, there's a power washer right there. Am I supposed to remove
So,
this equipment?
having gotten the receipt of the letter, have you done anything to facilitate cleaning up the area at all, or is it just left the way it was?
No, I absolutely have. I haven't taken any pictures to bring forth, but certainly on the 20th or on the 10th, the 20th day when the inspection is, they'll see a noticeable difference. But I
Okay.
need clarification. One of the items listed in the report are metal items. How am I supposed to determine what metal items are trash versus equipment? And on the 21st day, are we gonna let the landlord determine that my personal property is trash or junk or debris and allow him to remove it because he wants me off the property as part of a summary process hearing?
Well, yes, because you have the 20 days to take care of the issue.
Am I
Then it
supposed to
reverts
remove
to the
equipment, metal items? That that sounds like a very broad subject. Am I supposed to remove the steel cages that I have to house the animals? Those are metal items. Metal item doesn't seem very descriptive at all. So I'm here for clarification. What metal items do I need to remove? I'd be happy to remove what the town says I need to remove, but there's no indication of what it is that I need to remove. All metal items seems very broad. So as I stated in my appeal request, I'm looking for clarification. I mean, it doesn't seem unreasonable. I mean, certainly if there's even scrap metal is allowed to be kept on a property as long as it's kept out of the purview of any other people walking in the area, behind a fenced-in area, in a shed, right? That's what the law states, so why shouldn't I be able to keep?
Is it behind a fenced-in area or in a shed?
Yes, yes, a lot of those
Was it
items
when you
are.
arrived?
No.
Okay.
I mean, the sink isn't attached to anything, it's just on the ground.
Is there anything that says I can't have a sink? I'm about to put the sink into use.
Well, there's a lot of about to and planning on, which is why you have the 20-day window to get things in the queue. If you feel upon doing what you need to do that it's going to pass inspection, then you'd have nothing to worry about. Your landlord wouldn't be removing the items. But if they're not, after the 20 days, then they would be removed.
Well, I'd want to be able to pass.
If it is a zoning farm type equipment, I don't know the zoning laws as far as farming land. You would have to go before the zoning board to decide what they consider adequate fencing and items for farming. That has nothing to do with our board.
Well, if I'm being required by the board to remove fencing from the property, okay, that,
Because of the condition of the way it appears right now, it is in disarray and it is in full view.
it's not in full view. You can't even see the house from the street. This farm area is off the residence grounds. There is a house that has a yard. This is 100 feet away. Okay, this is not in anybody's view.
Right, but if the pictures that have been presented to us are the condition of the area, then it is considered a safety and a health hazard. So if you're saying your plan is to remove all the unusable items and stock things and clarify and put things in a shed and make it presentable and make it safe, then when she does her follow-up inspection, that would be fine. But as far as us determining what items are used, is a coil wire considered fencing? I have no idea. You would have to speak to the zoning board, and they would have to tell you what items are conditioned for fencing livestock and animals, and what is okay and what isn't okay.
Well, if I'm being ordered by this board to remove items from a property, it seems like this board or this inspector.
Because right now, they're in conflict with,
What items then, is my question. It should be very specific as to what items I'm being asked to remove. There is a lot of metal items on the property that are not all junk, that are not all debris. So are we just going to allow on the 21st day the landlord to decide what that constitutes? Is the inspector going to give me further instruction as to what needs to be removed? Because I was not even present during this inspection. In fact, I was told that that area wasn't even part of the residential inspection. So now all of a sudden it's become part of the residential inspection. We're here on safety and health hazards. I was told that area didn't apply to those.
any area applies to those.
Great, so when there is no electricity in that area and I'm walking down there in the pitch black, doesn't that create a health and safety violation? Because I was told by the inspector that that doesn't apply.
Well, and it's a kind of a gray area, because that would be an issue if you had a rental agreement designating that you had access and whatnot to that area, but where you don't have any type of agreement, we don't know if you have permission to use that area or not.
Really. I have farm animals, 80 farm animals. I don't have permission to use that area?
I'm not sure. I'm not even
if I
sure
brought
if
in
the
an
zoning
email
board would
from the
allow you to
landlord?
have 80 animals in
Excuse
that
me?
area. I don't even know if the zoning would allow you to have 80 animals in
So-
that area.
Animal control has been down there 3 times. Fire chief has been down there twice. Building inspector has been down there twice. MSPCA has been down there. They have found no fault with the area. They found no violations. They didn't find debris and trash as what's being described here in this inspection. So I don't know how things changed over the course of 2 years, that now this, items that haven't been moved really, are now suddenly health and safety violations.
Well, any type of stagnant water because of the mosquito population would be considered.
I would agree, and I don't have a dispute with that. I would certainly be amenable to emptying buckets. Certainly, I'd like to know that the buckets that are pictures being taken of are buckets that are under my control, okay? But in all due respect, the property is majority wetlands. There is a football-sized field pond that was dug by the landlord. There's retaining areas all over the place that are filled with standing water. My little buckets are suddenly creating that big of a mosquito breeding grounds that I need to get rid of buckets when I'm surrounded by standing water. I seem to think that I feel like I'm being targeted for buckets, metal objects.
Is there a way to clarify what items need to be removed, to make it clearer for?
I don't know what's his and what isn't. I would say a sink that's not attached to something, and if it came from off-site and it was brought to this site,
Yes, you
that-
said you're
that's-
planning on using this, so you have plumbing
Yeah,
there?
in fact, I use the sinks as nesting boxes for the chickens. They love to sit in the sink and hatch their eggs right there. I put them inside the coop. I mean,
I don't think
yeah, I
that's a
don't know.
standard
Is that not
operating
allowable?
procedure. It's not a standard operating procedure for agriculture.
I'm
to use-
sorry.
To use a sink.
Standard operating procedure on a
For-
farm for chickens?
To use a sink.
I think there are many people in the town of East Bridgewater that use all kinds of different items to let their chickens lay and to lay eggs. And quite frankly, you kind of let the chicken go where it wants to go, where it feels comfortable with laying the eggs. So I moved onto a property with 70 chickens. They knew full well. They invited me onto the property. They answered one of my ads looking for a farm to move to. So they all knew full well what was happening when I moved onto the property. Now, they're trying to remove me from the property. So now, here we are at a hearing before the Board of Health. So all I'm looking for is clarification. I can remove standing buckets of water, that's not an issue. I'd not like to lose any of my personal items because of a lack of clarification or because a landlord wants to consider my stuff junk.
Well, I don't think it's the board's wishes or the landlord's wishes to just remove your items. I think we're in a quandary where we are not a zoning board. We do not dictate what can and cannot be used for farming. that would be a zoning board issue. So when you asked for an inspection by the Board of Health, this is what we came up with for Board of Health standards. As far as items that you're using to, per se, for fencing or for farming, that's out of our jurisdiction. If those items are in fact able to be used, then it would be the zoning board that would rule on that. But I'm not sure what your goal was in requesting the inspection and then
I didn't request the
appealing.
inspection. I requested the appeal
Okay.
based on the inspection that the landlord requested.
So the motive of your appeal is just to find out which items need to be removed?
Absolutely. Right. Metal objects, if you can describe it for me, I'll be happy to remove anything that, isn't a piece of equipment that I'll be using in the care of all of those animals.
I would say, if
Yeah, I'm
it's
between a
not,
rock and a hard place, like, I
well,
don't know
if
what the
it's not
zoning for farming
standard
is.
operating farming equipment, and I maintain that wire, hosing, old sinks of any kind, I see 2 or 3 in there, pallets, multiples, you don't need that much stuff. If it holds water and it holds mold and it's trapping leaves and organic material in there that's rotting, it's a health hazard, and it needs to be
Organic material
called
that's
out.
rotting like dirt.
No, like
So
leaves.
buckets that have 1-inch holes that have been drilled into them, 8 of them, that contain dirt that I'm using to plant in, do those have to leave the property?
No, but buckets that are holding water and have mosquito larvae in them, yes.
Absolutely not a problem. Do they have to leave the property, or they just have to be turned upside down? or
Turn them
put inside
upside
of a
down,
shed?
make it neater, you don't need all that stuff out there. Someone should be able to walk through that property and not turn an ankle, get stuck on metal, have to hop over pallets, those kind of things.
And granted, a lot of that stuff is not all mine, right? That was
I'm not,
clarified that we're
I'm
sure
not
whose
saying it
was.
is, but we
Okay,
gave
because
you
we don't want to just all heap it on my
a
shoulders.
certain amount of time to basically tidy up your space, make it so it doesn't trap water, make it so we don't have mosquito larvae breeding. Those kind of things. It doesn't smell beyond normal farming activities.
Like
and your
smelling
animals
like,
won't get hurt.
Pigs or goats or chickens?
Nope. But you don't want the animals getting caught in the fencing, stuck in the hosing,
I don't think that's
caught up
happened, or.
in the
or-
pallets. And whether it's me or police or animal inspectors or someone out there doing an emergency call, they shouldn't turn an ankle, get stuck in stuff. They should be able to, there should be paths that you can walk on and it's neat and clean. And that's what we're
I
looking for.
specifically made a complaint this winter time that they were piling up the snow, blocking the entrance to exactly where she's describing, that they had left it covered in ice. It was
Totally different.
It's on the same subject matter in that you're describing an area.
Code
that the
requires-
Board of Health is taking purview over for one specific instance, but not for others. There are multiple violations on this property. I was told by this inspector that she wasn't there to look at any of those other violations, only what the landlord had complained about. I specifically said to her that if there's a rape occurring over here, are you gonna turn your eyes and say, that's not what I'm here for? Because that's exactly what's been going on here.
Well, the Board of Health is only delegated to look into matters that require Board of Health.
Like health and safety violations
Right, lighting,
Right.
things like that, like it would depend. If
is
it's
most
electric,
certainly a
whatever.
health and safety violation. They have lighting and electricity there. They refuse to provide it to me. How is it that certain violations are being noted and enforced, others are not?
I think what it comes down to is that you don't have a rental agreement stating what you can and cannot do and what they offered and did not offer or follow through with. If you had that type of agreement, we could look into those other areas, but unfortunately, we don't. So we're looking at what the inspection came up with and what needs to be fixed. Everything was addressed except the exterior. If you feel within the allotted time that you can clean up your area when she comes for follow-up inspection and whatever else is not yours or is not your responsibility is left where it is, then it would fall in the additional 10 days on the landlord.
So again, I think there needs to be a clarification, specifically regarding metal objects, what is and is not allowed.
recyclable objects are not permitted. If you're using them specifically for fencing, then I would get the fencing up. If they're not being used and they're using, if fencing falls down and you have them as a fail-safe, then I would say get them collected, organized, and out of sight. Clean the area up.
That is exactly where the fencing is, organized and out of sight in the very back part of the property. So that's specifically what I'm concerned about is fencing. I have 10 steel cages. Are they just gonna disappear?
Are the steel cages housing animals currently?
No.
Are
but
they collected and stored and stacked in a back corner?
They most
Or
certainly
are they
are.
strewn across the property?
No.
Because the pictures that I saw there, which are a little difficult to read because they are black and white, but it looks very chaotic.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is, but they've also reduced my footprint, and I've had to consolidate items down into this area. I had other areas on the property that I was able to use.
Again,
Specifically for
regardless
gardening.
of what areas you can and cannot use, that comes down to your rental agreement, which you do not have. So whatever
It doesn't-
area
it
you're
doesn't
permitted to
preclude me
use
from enjoying
is the
the
area
property
has
as a
to be
tenant.
taken
In
care of.
fact, I have a restraining order from the housing court.
Has
that
nothing to do with us
establishes me
here,
as a
unfortunately.
tenant, and it establishes my ability to use the property for the use intended. Okay, so I don't see is that I should be made to not be able to use the property, okay? Things do look a whole lot better than what they did in these pictures here, but also, clarification, 10 steel cages that are set aside to be used should not have to leave the property. I was told by this landlord that I was gonna come home one day and find all my animals gone, that they were gonna take them to the auction and sell them.
Again, that has nothing to do with the Board of Health.
It does have to do with the fact that the inspector here has given the landlord permission on the 21st day to remove my items.
Unless
Items-
you take care of it. Yeah, I think you're missing the point here. This isn't, we're not attacking you, we're not choosing sides. You have an allotted amount of time to clean up the area and make it presentable. If you clean it up and you feel that it's presentable and she comes back for follow-up inspection and says, no, this, and this need to be changed, then that's where it is. It's not your word against ours, this is the clarification. If you feel that all of that stuff is necessary, then you make it look as presentable as you think it needs to be, and when she does the follow-up inspection, she will tell you what is okay and what is not okay.
Okay, well,
If after
last
that
part
area,
has nowhere been described in this whole situation, okay? In fact, on the 20th day, if she comes there and says, this needs to be done, and whatnot, I should be given the time to be able to do that, especially being as that I have no knowledge of what's expected of me. Tidying the place up is not listed in this report. It's not something that I'm opposed to, though. Something that I've already started doing. Okay? I'm more than happy to move items behind a fence. But if that's the requirement, and the only requirement, tidied up, moved out of the purview of people walking, then I shouldn't have to remove items. And the landlord shouldn't be allowed to remove items. Who's gonna make a decision as to what he can remove and what he can't?
if she does the follow-up inspection, she will go through the area, and if there is anything left in question, she will review that with you. As long as you can come to an understanding, we can extend the deadline.
Is it
The
something?
deadline is in place because he is the owner of the property, so if you did not follow through, it falls on the owner.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if I need an extension, do I have to come before the board, or is that something that can be granted, a 2 or 3 day extension, providing if she finds something that's reasonable to be moved?
It's a
If I
possibility.
need to hire a moving truck and movers, it's not something I'm gonna be able to do in 2 days. It's also not something that I think that is required,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm not following where that's coming from if you're saying that.
because I don't
needs
know
to be
where this
cleaned
whole
up.
thing is going. That's kind of the issue.
All right, so
How many-
we're gonna listen to the landlord side of it, and
Sure.
then we will make a motion and vote on a solution. Thank you. Hi. So you just need to state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Ted Johnson, or Edward Johnson. I live at 1357 Washington Street in East Bridgewater. I am the owner of the property. I own the house, I own the property. We did in fact respond to a request. Mr. Tartaglione was looking for a place to live and house some farm animals. We have a farm, we have a little bit of space. We thought we could help each other out. It was a basic gentleman's handshake on the, you know, on his coming on board and living at our house, and, you know, it was supposed to be a program where we helped each other. I have to admit, he has spent a lot of time out there cleaning up and organizing stuff around there. It looks a lot neater today than it did 2 weeks ago. No, there's no doubt about it. But the situation is I'm not saying he's been doing it lately, but over the couple of years, he's been bringing more and more stuff to stack there. And I had asked him at the very beginning, maybe 3 years ago, when he was first bringing stuff on board, in front of his area where he keeps the pigs and the chickens, I actually had chickens at one time, so I had a chicken coop there, and I had an extended area because I had pigs at one time also. But I also had a road or a trail that I could drive my truck down in front of that area, and I could go down back and to the river. That I had, you know, had access to the back part of the property. I can't even hardly walk through there now because of all the stuff that's there. Never mind drive a pickup truck or an excavator or something like that. That's what's been happening with all this material he's bringing on board that he says he uses it for his work. That's questionable. But there is a lot of stuff there. He hasn't neatened it up. You could probably walk through there very easily now than, you know, a few weeks ago. But I used to be able to drive down. I used to have my manure pile down back. I would take it from the barn and bring it 100 yards away from the barn, and I would turn it into loam, and I would use it in planters and seeding grass and that kind of thing, and it never accumulated to more than, say, a dozen yards. So because he has blocked that area, I had to put my manure in a different area now in the past couple of years, so, which, it's okay. I mean, I may do, but I still would like to be able to get down that area and go around to the back part of the property. Anyway, that's part of the issue with the stuff that he's got there. Well, that's probably the main part of it. I don't know what else I can say.
So is it fair to say that everything on the property back there is your tenants, or do you also have stuff stored back there?
Well, where all his stuff is all his stuff. And I have stuff other places. But I'm also cleaning up my property too, and I do have a dumpster there for myself that I've been picking up, and it's just about full. I'm gonna have it dumped. I also have a lot of metal objects that, I've been on the property for 30 years. I have stuff from when the kids had bicycles and motorcycles and quads and engine parts and stuff, and we are cleaning up that area, and we're doing the trash first, which the dumpster is pretty full. Now, after that is dumped, I have a friend that let me borrow his dump trailer, and we're loading it, and it's almost ready to be emptied. Then we're gonna put all the metal in and take it, he's gonna take it and cash it in for the metal money, and that's what he gets for letting me borrow his stuff. So, we're working on it. It's a constant thing. It's always something, and we're, you know, trying to keep the area clean. She had mentioned a few things in the house that I had to correct, which I did. There's a few other things that but we had the 30 days to do it, which it's gonna be done. It's gonna be all.
As far as the drum on the property in the picture that's listed for petroleum, do we know if this is a hazardous waste item or who it belongs to?
I believe that would be Mr. Tati.
It belongs to me. The top has been cut off.
Yeah, and it probably has been washed out and cleaned. I don't know what was in it at one time.
Can't tell by the picture.
Yeah.
Can't either.
It looked, I don't know if I could just,
Yep.
I know.
it looks like the top's still on, guys.
Like it looks rusted.
That's rusted, and it almost looks like you can see where the where the inspection turnout might be, but I'm concerned about that drum and what's inside.
I'm sorry, concerned about the drum and what?
And what's inside.
It's empty. It's been filled with water numerous times.
Okay?
But
But if, you know, if it's still there, it's something that we should follow up on a reinspection.
So during the inspection, was it designated whose area is whose? Or do we just?
No, it didn't. They
And if
were
it is yours, it should be labeled
discussing
properly.
it, and I didn't want to,
It should be labeled
middle of that.
properly.
the drum,
Yes. I mean, it says petroleum and fire hazard on it.
Petro Canada on it,
Okay, but it's, you know, a petroleum barrel.
came from a printing
Oh,
company.
okay.
I don't know what,
don't tell us.
You know,
it's been like years.
so if there was an emergency, my point is, it's an emergency, the first responders are not going to know what it is.
I would suggest that the fire chief was down there twice.
Okay.
And didn't make any comment on it, but if it's a problem, it can be removed. That's not
There we
something
go.
that's, I'm stuck on.
No.
You know, my fencing is an issue. If I have to replace fencing, I don't have it there, then that's a problem. How am I gonna contain pigs? These are not, these are 200-pound animals.
All right, well, all right, so at this point, it seems like you're both making some sort of effort to get the area cleaned up.
Sure. Yep.
I don't know if we want to extend the deadline so that you have a reinspection time, and then they can both be present to distinguish who's responsible for what.
That, I would suggest that.
Because, I mean, it's, you know, we're getting close, as far as the 20th, we just realized that that's the Juneteenth holiday, so we were planning on extending the landlord's responsibility to Thursday, the 24th,
Of July?
of June.
June.
Oh, June. Okay.
So my deadline
Is
is
the
the
10th. So what I'm offering, which we'll vote on shortly, is extending it maybe to the beginning of July with the intention that you'll both work together, and then when Jean Marie comes down for her follow-up inspection, if there's any, like, there can be some sort of delineation as to who's responsible for what.
I'm fine with that type of thing. I also, if we keep if we're not gonna be penalized, if you keep the inspection date and clarify for him, for his sake, what he should and should not have on the property. I don't want any of it on the property, okay? That's my attitude. And us, as far as us working together, that's impossible.
Well, I don't mean together with each other, I'm thinking together with the Board of Health.
Together with the Board
I
of Health.
realize that
sounds-
there's a
sounds great.
pre-existing
Right.
condition with the whole situation, and unfortunately, because there's no verbal written agreement that we can refer to,
Right,
there's a lot of things that are out of our jurisdiction and they're out of our realm.
I understand.
But I would make a motion that Jean Marie set a date to do a follow-up inspection, and then we renegotiate the time frame
I like that.
to facilitate both of them taking care of their independent areas.
Okay, why don't we start with Mr. Taglione, because you have the 10-day. What date works for you? What day, I don't, and I'm not gonna go beyond 30 days, so.
Well, I'm not even looking for that.
So to clarify, this would be a time for Jean Marie to come out and clarify with you what needs to be done within a certain time frame to make that cohesive.
Beyond the 10th, the timeframe beyond the 10th.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Super. Friday? Or for the inspection, is that what we're asking about?
Right, yep.
Oh, maybe you're not open on Friday after, right?
Well,
Right.
afternoon time, we sort of aren't.
The following Monday?
That was the 20th, that was the, I didn't realize that was June 15th.
So we're discussing, this isn't for the final timeline.
No,
This is for you
this
to
is
go
10 day.
beforehand. Yeah.
How about, do you want to do the 27th?
Well, Jean Marie, I think they're looking, before they rectify the issue, they want.
That's why I'm looking at him for the 27th, and then.
For the deadline, or for you to
Sometime in
revisit the
July would
area?
be his deadline.
But I think they're looking for a day for you to come out, preliminary inspect, to tell them what you actually would like.
Well, originally it was gonna be the 10th, so it has to be, if you want it, some week of the, let's see, some afternoon of the 14th, 15th, 16th of June. Is that what you want?
Well, that's a holiday weekend.
That's next
14th,
week.
15th,
That's a
16th,
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
yeah, of June.
Oh, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, okay.
What day works,
Tuesday, Wednesday,
yeah,
Thursday.
what time frame works best for you? Are you more of a morning person? I know that sounded funny. I know, no, you need afternoons. I
Yes.
don't know what his time frame's like.
Talking to me?
Yeah.
I can be made available whenever you need me to.
So why don't you just pick a day during the next 2 weeks for me to come out?
Next Tuesday?
Okay, next Tuesday is the 14th? Yep, that works. What time works for you?
Should we both be present?
Early afternoon, or?
Well,
No, it would just be you and the health agent.
Okay. As early in the morning as possible would be great.
I have a park that starts at PMP, they're usually pretty good, right? How about 9 o'clock or 8:30? Is 8:30? 8:30 work?
Sure.
Right. All right, June 14th. Okay. And I'll shoot you out a complimentary email, just to make sure, okay?
Thank you.
So what about,
I just have one other question.
mhm,
So this is going to be a re-inspection, and based on the re-inspection, there's gonna be an additional allotment of time for me to be able to take care of whatever she.
Correct.
that's what we're looking at, yeah.
And you had mentioned something about the board's not going to be available on the week of the 20th or something like that?
Just the 20th is a holiday.
Oh, okay.
So I believe that would have been the 30-day for the landlord to remove all the items, but we were going to extend that anyway because we didn't realize when picking that day that it was a holiday.
Okay, so more
But
likely.
that's eliminated. So she will meet with you, point out what needs to be done. You can delineate what is your responsibility, what is not, and then she will give you a guideline of, what is it, 15 days?
Timeframe for removal?
Yeah, it's gotta, you can't go beyond 30.
Which will more than likely be sometime after the 20th?
Yes.
Yeah, and then it looks like Mr. Johnson's timeframe will be sometime after the 4th of July. Probably, we think.
So do you have a meeting date for Mr. Johnson?
Well, we already have one, right?
July 11th. Well, we have, ours would be
The 30-day.
yeah, that's the 20th of June. That's the one that I didn't realize was the Juneteenth holiday.
Yes.
Wasn't connecting that. So if I'm not meeting with him until
The next,
the 14th, then that pushes your date out.
okay.
So I'm thinking for you, it's either gonna be the 27th of June or the 11th of July.
For the final inspection or the preliminary?
I'm thinking it will probably be July 11th for the final.
All right, because
Okay.
yeah, because the 29th, if you met with the tenant on the 14th, the 29th would be the 15 days. So you would just need to coordinate a day in the next week or so to meet with her so she can tell you
Okay.
if there's any items that he's stating is not his responsibility, that would fall apart.
That's why I'm saying the 27th. I know you like Mondays. June 27th is a Monday, so then,
27th will work very well for me.
so that would be the,
Anytime, because I do have that day off from work.
okay. And so then the final would be the July 11th would be the final inspection.
Okay.
Okay? Meet with you June 27th. 4 o'clock is your favorite time still?
That works well, on that date, yes.
All right.
And you'll send me confirmation
Yep.
on that? All right, thank you.
Yep. So the final day we're looking for is July 11th.
All right, so we will be closing the hearing with the tenant inspection rescheduled for a preliminary of the 14th, and then given a 15-day to correct any issues, and the landlord's inspection will be the 27th, with the July 11th deadline to correct any issues. So I make a motion to accept the rescheduling of the inspections.
So moved. Was that your motion or my second?
Yours, you can second.
Okay,
So
so,
motion Lisa,
Yep.
second Rob.
Yep.
All those in favor?
aye.
Any discussion? Good. Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're all set.
Thank you.
See ya.
He's just here for one of the action items. He just wanted to be present for the vote.
My tax dollars at work.
All right.
I didn't have anything else to do this evening.
41 Toddy Terrace, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Brown.
All right, so we will move on to the action items. We have invoices for approval for Brown and Caldwell and Crystal Rock. Did both of you guys have a chance to review those? I will make a motion to approve those invoices.
Seconded.
Second by Tom. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those are approved. Minutes for the May 23rd meeting. Any discussion?
Motion to accept.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those are approved. Disposal work permits. Do you have anything to add on these, Jean Marie?
41 Toddy Terrace is looking for local upgrade approval, 3 feet to groundwater, and use of a sieve analysis. The others are all no variances.
Okay. So I will ask for a motion to approve disposal work permits for 41 Toddy Terrace, 73 Maple Ave, 572 West Street, and then 536, 548, and 560 Harvard Street.
Motion to accept.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, those are approved. Food service permits, we have 3. We have Ease Ice Cream and More, Lawless, and is it Cheesy Chicks?
Yep.
Is that what the name of the mac and cheese one? Okay.
Yeah, all food trucks. They're all food trucks for Ponytown parties.
Ponytown.
Can I just say something about Lawless?
Yep.
That's the one we caught operating without a permit Thursday night. I haven't inspected him yet, so that's just one that I won't give him the permit until I inspect him.
All right, so we will I will ask for a motion to approve Ease Ice Cream and Cheesy Chicks.
Cheesy Chicks hasn't been inspected yet either, though, really, so they should both be
No.
pending inspection, yeah.
Okay,
Actually, they're both gonna be pretty much the same night, so.
so scratch that. I will make a motion to accept Ease Ice Cream.
So, okay, so right now we're just.
doing one,
approving-
and then-
Okay. So, I'll second the Ease Ice Cream and More.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And then I will make a second motion to approve Lawless and Cheesy Chicks pending the inspection.
Okay. Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Installer's license, are these all renewals?
Yes.
All right, so we have 3, DBH Utility Company, Bradford Construction, and Excavation, Inc., up for installer's license. I will make a motion to approve.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, septic hauler license, wastewater services. Motion to approve.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, license extension, Sacred Edition Tattoo.
That's just, remember you had given them the temporary, and then they got the railings up, and so that's just bookkeeping, because
So
their
everything's
license
all
expired, yeah.
Okay, so I will make a motion to approve the license for Sacred Edition Tattoo.
Okay, is this an extension, or are we approving their actual license?
So it's an extension, so they had a license approved that was gonna expire May 31st, then we're gonna extend it till December 31st, which is what the original, they were already,
Okay.
you had already signed a December
Yep.
31st permit, but
Okay.
then you came back and said, we're only gonna give them till May.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, items for discussion. So T-Square, they did not have the proper signage displayed at the time of Jean Marie's inspection for tobacco and alcohol. They have subsequently posted those signs when supplied. I guess in the interim, Jean Marie had issued them a $100 fine. I would like to waive the $100 fine because they were in compliance and the citation didn't go for board approval. So I would make a motion, or ask for a motion, to waive the $100 fine for T-Square because the signage was posted as soon as they received it.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Landfill update, Sue?
So I think I sent it pretty much all in the email, but we were able to, went back and forth with Julie, our landfill Brown and Cobble representative. She was able to define the fencing area. It's gonna be like 2,100 square feet. Still gonna be too much money to do in-house without going for a capital project.
And that's the whole perimeter,
Nope,
correct?
so it's not, it's only gonna, that would have been a lot more, actually. So it's basically Plymouth Street, parts of Bridge Street, West Pond Street, where the fence already is and is falling down. It doesn't have to
Okay.
go through that heavily wooded area or anything. And so she highlighted it, sent it off to John Haynes and Brian Kiley to make sure they understood it. They are, over the next few months, they're gonna work on getting us a ballpark estimate to go to capital committee for a ballpark number to go to town meeting with. They'll probably overestimate, so we make sure we have enough money. And then, once, hopefully, town meeting approves it, we've never actually had to go to town meeting for anything big, so if they say no, I'll be disappointed. Then, we would have to get like a engineer, maybe, it could be Brown and Cobble, it could also be Weston and Sampson or EP to, do like bid documents, put it out to bid, because over a certain amount of money has to go for bid. And they're looking at, like a next spring type construction project, so once all this stuff gets all approved. And then, John, we went back and forth between Julie and John as far as those vents go. After she gave him some more information on how you fix them and everything, he's comfortable doing it as long as it can wait till their downtime, which would be, late fall, early winter, after, all the planting and before the snow plowing. And she said that was reasonable, so we typed all that up, and it went over to DEP. So we're in compliance with what we had to do, and John and Brian are gonna work with us over the next few months to get that fence rolling. And actually, coincidentally, like 2 days after we had our last meeting, somebody from Plymouth Street that just bought a house there came in and inquired about the fence, so I was able to actually tell them, hey, we're working on that. So, I mean, it's gonna be long, it's gonna be
A process.
long, yeah, over $10,000, is a big process, so somebody will have to go to town meeting floor and, make a motion for the Board of Health guys.
To be honest, this fencing is 25 to plus years old.
Oh, it's the original.
gonna say,
Yeah, it's
So-
the original fence,
So it's
yeah.
not like.
So it's been patched and repaired over the years, and I think, both Julie from Brown and Caldwell and John and Brian feel like it needs to be a chain link fence, and then they could do privacy slats, for the neighbors that directly abut, because the wood is just gonna rot again.
All right, proposed hospital. So I had spoke to Peter Spagone, the selectman, who has informed us that this is no longer on our agenda. It is going to the sewer commission, and if anything comes up in the future, then it will be back on our desk. But as of right now, that is off our topic. Does anyone else have anything to discuss? Okay, then I guess we will close our meeting. I will make a motion to close the meeting for June 6th, 2022 for the Board of Health.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.